host. Thanks for joining us today on this lovely Saturday. We got a lot of good stuff to get to. Let's jump right into it. Got a few random things that happened over the week.
Really
last
random.
Week. You love random?
I love random.
All right, so we had a
High school was known as Random Randy.
we had a pretty crazy game in the minor leagues today, or this week. So we had a pitcher give up 11 errors and no earned runs. Is that correct?
Yeah, there was 11 errors on the field with 0 earned runs. It was an 11-run game as well.
Yeah. Can you explain how that happens when a pitcher can give up so many runs but none of them are earned?
Well, there's several things that can happen. Your defense either didn't show up or your defense didn't show up. And
All right,
that's
so the question I had right away was, how can you give up in a home run and it's not the pitcher's fault?
that's a good question. Unless
So-
it's an inside the park home run. Unless
Nah.
it's depending on how they score it.
So I was looking at the message boards and the discussions about this game,
Yes.
and apparently, if the defense should have, under normal circumstances, recorded 3 outs already,
Yeah, then your earned run.
and then anything after that doesn't count.
Right.
So he gave up home runs and they don't even count against him. So that's kind of a wacky thing for
Boy, Matt
baseball
Garza.
scoring.
I
I
bet Matt Garza
understand.
wished he knew about that. Because Matt Garza really liked to give up those home runs really early.
He did. You got to give him up later in the inning. So, just a random look at the week in baseball. We had that crazy game, and it made me learn a little bit more about the rules of baseball and the way runs are scored and earned runs. So the pitcher gets no penalty on his ERA for at bats that happened after 3 outs should have happened. So pretty interesting stuff. We also had really weird stat line from the game today. Carlos Martinez for the Cardinals went against the Yankees, and he struck out 11 batters, and he only gave up 8 walks. The last time that's happened in a game, that stat line, was a Randy Johnson game in 1993. So it hasn't happened for like 25 years. Pretty remarkable stuff. So he was either striking a player out or walking them. There was no in between today.
Yeah, definitely. You were either hitting your spots or missing your spots with a what was it, 60 pitches?
What I heard is 60-something pitches without a ball in play.
Yeah, so he's either striking out or walking.
Okay, I think that gets us to what you wanted to bring up, Chase. There was an article shared about whether or not the MLB games are too slow and too boring. Is it affecting fandom in the MLB, or are local fans still excited enough to go to their team and they still love their team regardless of their perspective on the baseball as a whole when they watch it on TV, if they think it's going slow or not?
Yeah, there was an article ESPN did with a group of people. The MLB fan survey says baseball actually isn't boring and your team is really awesome. Was the headline for it, and it shows 29% shows that people are watching more baseball during the opening week this year. 29% jump in that. About 50% of them said that they watched about the same, and then the remainder said they watched fewer, which leads why that's a poll. And then 37% say that they watch the games closely. Only 8% says that they don't miss a pitch. So I really feel like this is good for stats. One of the main questions was, is baseball boring? Questions, yes for 30%, no for 70%. Yeah, that sounds great and everything. The only problem that I have with this poll is that it was based on baseball fans. So that would
Who
be.
was doing the poll?
It was through MLB.com or
Yeah.
through ESPN.com.
Gotcha.
So they're asking a group of fans to say, "Is this boring?" That's like going to Comic-Con and saying, "Hey, do you feel like it's still okay that you live with your mom?" And the dude's 55. You're gonna get a yes answer. Like, I feel like you kind of skewed your way.
Right.
I do think that baseball may be kind of coming up, especially now that hockey and NBA are into their postseason. So there is going to be a jump towards baseball.
Soon.
Yeah, soon.
Yes.
Once we get through the 9 months of the NBA playoffs that exist.
You're
That
not
fucking
wrong.
thing is so stupid and long. None of them deserve to win. None of them deserve a trophy.
Okay, so remember how I was trying to tie it in. Say there is a lot more than 30%, maybe we got 50% of casual sports fans in general, Americans in general, think baseball is boring. Okay? We got a lot of people who think that way,
Yeah.
and they're not so interested in baseball,
For
maybe
sure.
they're not even interested in sports. Is the potential for 60 pitches and several innings of absolutely no action the reason?
I think
Because from baseball, like as a baseball fan's perspective, you and I look at that and we're like, wow, maybe we need to go watch those highlights.
yeah. No, I think
11 strikeouts and 8 walks, and then someone else is like, you had absolutely no action for 5 innings, and they were at the game and they paid $30, and they were bored out of their mind.
it's very much a deal where, as American sports watchers, we have become so offensively driven.
Well, okay,
everything
but that's
is
the thing. You can at least go to an NFL game or an NBA game or a hockey game, and at least something's happening.
right, and that's why there's become such a decline in MLB as far as fan watching is what a lot of the upper big wigs in the MLB feel that's what's hindering. I'm actually writing a article that will be posted tomorrow through MLB blogs, which will be under the Cold Beers and Curveballs. If you go to the MLBlogs.com, it'll be on there talking about how there is no more Sandlot baseball. Baseball isn't just declining from a major league perspective, it's declining all the way down into the little leagues and things like that. Yes, here in Texas where we're at, everyone is on a select team,
Yeah.
Which really kind of makes me wonder, what are we selecting? If everybody gets to be on a select team now, it's paid little league. That's all it's
Yeah.
becoming.
Okay, speaking from my own personal experience, especially with my little brothers, select leagues are better. They are more of a time commitment.
They
you have
are
be
to
super
an extent.
serious. There's more money involved.
There is more money, but
I think everybody's playing baseball. Not everybody's playing select here.
no, but there's more select teams than anything. That's
Yeah.
I mean, there's a shit ton of these things, and there's little Jimmy whose dad couldn't make it into minor league baseball, who's going
And
to
he-
live through him.
And he thinks Jimmy's incredible.
Yeah, when I gave baseball lessons for a while out in East Texas, my number one rule was, I don't care what Daddy thinks, because Daddy ball is what's killing us. And right now, there's actually a book out. I'll see if I can find the name of it toward the end of the episode that just came out about select baseball, which I feel like could be a good topic that we can get onto. But back to the article that I was writing, we just don't have those players like Bonds and Pudge and Griffey and Sosa. We don't have that home run race that we were looking for. Pitching has actually caught back up with hitting.
Yeah.
Guys are hitting the ball further, but guys are also pitching longer, and they're actually going more scoreless innings. So you're right back now even with it. I don't know if that's because of we're out of the steroid era, what's going on with that. Players have just started to even out. But there's definitely a decline in action with some games. For me, I think that's cool. Chatwood today pitched a complete game for the Rockies. I love defensive baseball. That's what I love. That's where my mind goes to when I think about baseball.
So I think that if you're watching it on TV, it's much more entertaining to see a pitcher be dominant,
Oh yeah,
to see the movement on the ball, to see the replays in slow motion of how bad the batter missed, to see, the little trail they draw on the screen, show you just how much it's moving across, and announcers giving a little bit of extra analysis. You can really get into a pitching duel. You can really enjoy a pitching performance. But if you're at the game, you cannot see that. There are about 5 seats in the house that can see
yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, but that's the great thing though.
And it depends on if there's, big scoreboards and you see
Yeah,
those or
and
whatever.
MLB's trying to get that to where the fan experience at the game is a lot like at home. Like I have MLB at bat on my phone. If I'm at a game and I see something, I can pull up the at bat app and look at the game view and actually click on the feed, and it will actually show me those same things. And they're trying to do that. They're trying to get people out to the ballpark, which is not really a hard thing to do because most ballparks, except for like if your team's just fucking tanking, people are at the ball game.
Yeah, no, I don't think attendance is such a big problem. I think ballpark experience is good. I think that's not a problem. Just going and having a good time. But if you're going, you want to see some offensive action.
Yeah,
You want to see hit after hit after hit, rally going, boom, boom, boom. Let's get up. Let's go for this. Cheering, standing up, getting a home run, clutch, everything like that.
Yeah,
you do not
you
want to see the quality pitching.
You want to go to a game where it's 4-4 and it's bottom of the ninth and your team hits a walk-off. That's what you want.
Yeah.
That there's no doubt. That was one thing back during the home run race between McGuire and Sosa.
Right.
I think that was probably one of the best summers of baseball that we've ever had.
And I remember even being super young, there was, I was seeing it in the newspaper. It was the biggest story. It was great for baseball. Now, then a giant shadow got cast over everything.
Yeah.
Started. But the relevant point of that though is baseball was exciting. Baseball had the offense. Now we seem to be trying to manufacture that, trying to get back into that. And you're going all the way back to, talking about Jackie Robinson in the good old days, back in the 90s, back in the 80s, back in the 70s, and we don't play sandlot baseball anymore. Is it because it's just not exciting enough? Because these are the formative years. We're talking about the young kids of America in North Texas or in South Louisiana or in Los Angeles or who knows where.
I think
And they're not playing sandlot baseball because in the basketball and football are more exciting.
They're more exciting, they're more accessible, and I also think there's been such a push on children athletes that kids don't want to play anymore.
But I think kids and parents are going to play what they find to be most entertaining.
They are. But the thing that you also have to think too is if you're one of these kids whose parents have you in fall baseball, spring
Right.
baseball, that's all you do. What's the last thing you want to do on your Saturday
You're not going
afternoon?
to go join your neighbor.
You're not going to go play with your
at the-
kids. And I
But,
think
I was listening the other day to Dak on the radio here in Dallas, and they were talking about, all he did when he was young is he played catch with his brother, or he went to the ball field and he had a little pickup game of baseball. That's not a complicated thing. You just go out and do it, and it's fun times. If you love it, you keep doing it. But I just don't think. I think mainly it's a fundamental change of the communities of America.
Yeah.
The mindset of young people in America. We are attached to our phones more from a young age. Parents look at things differently. We don't just let the kids run off. That's when you had the baseball heyday. Everyone was just going around playing catch into baseball all the time.
oh yeah. No, I remember
It's
I remember.
lost, and I don't think it's coming back.
No, I don't. I think there's too much in the world that's changed to where you don't get to do that. I remember, those are some of the fondest memories I have. Was my two childhood friends were Scott and Pat. They were both they were brothers, and every summer I was at their house, or they were at my house. They would spend the night, and then we were playing stickball, we were playing wiffle ball, we were playing catch, we were playing everything. We would play basketball, we would play
Right.
football, all of that, and that seems to be something that's lost. And I think it does have to do with parents worried about where their kids are, what's going on.
Yeah. But see, you don't have to be away from you don't have to be away from your house.
No,
Like,
no,
my-
and I do believe technology is another hindrance. I think there's so many things that are going towards baseball. It's kind of like, why are there no inner city snowboarders? Because they're in the inner city and snowboarding is expensive, and so it's cheaper.
And there's no snow.
Dude, inner city Denver. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that there's these kids that
Right.
don't
Baseball
have,
takes more money
Yeah.
than take one basketball or one soccer ball.
Yeah, and if you look at the rise in the demographics of people and people groups that play these sports that are becoming huge, money's not readily available.
Yeah.
And so those seem to be the kids that are excelling in sports because they're not the ones that have the smartphone or the Wi-Fi or Netflix and all these things. So their parents are still making them get out there and play and do something.
Maybe. So, it's a lot we talked about. Let's bring it to a head. So, we're talking about Jackie Robinson Day. It's great to honor the past, but I think the main point is that baseball is not going to ever be quite the same. This is not the 40s and 50s.
No.
There's no Sandlot baseball going on anymore. We have built up suburbs, and that's where your star players are coming from, who have a little bit of money and they play in select leagues and they have the resources. But you don't. Baseball's just not. Youth baseball is not the same anymore. You're not going out to the Sandlot, and the excitement for the game is different. I don't think there's any. I think there's plenty of families around that still play catch. It's not a problem. Like my dad, built a little backstop that had an angle on it so you could pitch and catch to yourself.
Yeah.
Like it would bounce off, and then I remember me and my brothers playing, and we would pitch, and one person was trying to steal, and the other one we were pitching, and they were throwing back to second.
Yeah.
Playing pickoff and stealing games. Those aren't complicated. They don't take a lot of equipment. They're fun. But if the youth in today's America are not doing that, if
No.
they are finding the NFL to be a more exciting product, then
And-
they're
and I
not
think-
going to go
I think a
practice
lot of this-
baseball. They're going to go practice catch with
For
a
sure.
football.
And I also think a lot of this is skewed towards the TV rights and how much they're making off of that. Because during the recession, back, what was that, 08?
07,
The only form of entertainment that actually turned a profit was minor league baseball.
That's pretty crazy, yeah. But it
Movies,
was cheaper.
movies didn't profit. Restaurants and stuff weren't profiting like they were. And so it was very much a minor league baseball was cheap.
Yeah.
I know for a long time, Frisco here,
Mhm.
you could take your family and get 4 hot dogs, 4 drinks, tickets, hat, I think a hat for everybody, a program, and then they also threw in 4 meals to McDonald's.
Yeah, and
it
I
was
had
like
some good
$55.
times at the Frisco ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, they're great. It gets you out of the house. It gets you go do something. They're very family-oriented, very crowd-oriented. It's less about the actual baseball on the field and more about creating a good time.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a conversation that Chase and I are going to have throughout the season. Are there data points that we can point to for saying, hey, this is why baseball is going to make a little bit of a comeback slowly but surely, and they have an exciting product, or this is why the decline is going to continue? But let's move on completely. Real quick note from today. Chris
Yeah, I
Sale
just
had
moved
a-
over to my Lone Star beer.
Chris Sale had a great game today. If I said Clayton Kershaw was the best pitcher in the game, you wouldn't argue with me, yes?
No, I would not argue with you at all.
Okay. If I said Syndergaard was the second best pitcher in the game, would you argue with me?
I would
Would you put
def-
Chris Sale above him? For power lefties in the AL, what he's doing, is he the second best pitcher in the game?
Yes.
It's pretty close. What about Matt Harvey? What about Jake Arrieta? What about Cole Hamels?
Cole Hamels definitely no. Cole Hamels is a good starter. I don't think Cole Hamels is lights out right now.
Is there I think you're absolutely correct. I think he's not even quite as good as Yu Darvish.
Right.
So, is it Clayton Kershaw at 1, and then a lot of people tied for number 2 through 5?
I would say
And you really can't separate them because sometimes they have incredible months and sometimes they have average months.
yeah, I would definitely say that the race is Kershaw and then everyone else.
Do you
I
think
would.
Chris Sale separates himself?
I think
He's number
Chris-
2 and everyone else is fighting for number 3?
That's where I would put it. I would say Chris Sale is probably your number 2 pitcher in the league, followed by everybody else. Arrieta's looking good. Arrieta's not looking as strong as he was.
Probably going.
What was
Probably
that?
like Cole Hamels.
Yeah, Cole Hamels definitely not where we wanted him to be, where we thought he was going to be, because Cole Hamels has been lights out for years. But it's, he's not a bad pitcher.
Of course
There's not
not.
days that the only thing that I think that is stupid about Cole Hamels is the fact that he said Sam Dyson can close any game that I want. I guess he doesn't want to win this year. but that's another story that we can talk about
We'll
later.
talk about that another time.
Yeah, but
so the moral of the story is that Crystal had a great game today. Really dominant stuff. He's probably the second best pitcher in the MLB. We're going to continue to watch him for the entire year. Red Sox paid a lot of money for him. See if he's worth every penny of that. The Rangers have an ace named Yu Darvish. He had a great game against the Angels the other day. 10 plus strikeouts. I think he's one of the pitchers for the last few years. He's got like the most games of 10 plus strikeouts, or top, maybe second most games of 10 plus strikeouts in the MLB. So, like you said in the very first episode, Cole Hamels is going to get you strikeouts. You live and die by the strikeouts. I'm sorry, not Cole Hamels, but Yu Darvish. You live and die by the strikeout with Yu Darvish. So he had a great game, but the next game he might give up those 4 runs.
yeah, no, he's always been one of those ones that, there will be games that your offense has to get him out. It's definitely he lives by the strikes, dies by the strikeouts. He's not a player who really gets you he can strike you out, he can go long innings, but there are also times where he'll get you in trouble. Yu Darvish right now, though, Yu Darvish he's split 1-1 right now. He's got a 2.33 ERA. He's pitched 19 innings out of those 2 outings.
No complaints.
No complaints with him. But where we stand for the rest of the season, is Cole Hamels going to get himself out of that? Where's Cole Hamels headed? If I can pull up Cole's results here.
Hold on for just a second. So to stay on Yu Darvish for 1 second more, what I want to talk about for a second is how do you see his future with the Rangers for the rest of the year? So
he'll be here through the end of the season.
Do you think there's absolutely no chance that he gets traded at the trade deadline because he's a bona fide ace? If he's having a great first half of the season, he is, he's in that top 10, top 6 pitchers in the MLB, in the AL. You get, a desperate team who wants to make a run.
I
They can put
honestly,
themselves over the top. Maybe the Indians. What if he went to the Indians? They know they're pretty damn close.
they're very.
And what if they're
close.
struggling, and what if they're like, 1 game back from, the Tigers or whatever in their division, and they want to make that playoff run? You don't think they're going to trade for Yu Darvish?
Man,
or something?
I don't
He's
think
gonna give up some
I don't
prospects?
think the Rangers will trade unless they're unless they're sitting
They're really
in
far
3rd
back.
place and they're about 9 to 12 games back. I don't
That's
see
pretty
him trading.
terrible, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see him going anywhere.
The thing is, I think the Rangers are all in for this year.
Yeah, they have to be because this is the only year that this is going to work.
Okay, they're all in for this year because they have Yu Darvish, right?
And Cole Hamels.
And Cole.
And Luke Roy.
And Beltre. And Lucroy. And all this jazz, right?
Yeah.
If it's not looking like they clearly have everything it takes to at least win 1 or 2 series in the playoffs, why don't they just give up 1? They'd probably still make the playoffs, even if they're close, right? They still make the playoffs and give it a go. But look at the haul you could get back from a Yu
Because
Darvish.
John Daniels thinks that what we have right now in the
Is
farm
actually going to win.
system is actually going to win us. We don't
That's-
need anything else. We ought to just call ourselves Jerry Jones because we have everything to do with the 90s Cowboys, and that's John Daniels. John Daniels has a big head. John Daniels sometimes makes things work, and most of the time he doesn't make things work.
I think he's fine. But look, I see that the mindset could change. Of course we're going all in right now. We brought in Cashner, we brought in Ross, we've got everybody on these 1-year deals. Of course we're going all in right now. But if you just say, okay, people are knocking down your door to buy Cole Hamels, to buy Yu Darvish. I'm sorry I keep doing that. To buy Yu Darvish, do you not sell him? That way you don't have 3 terrible years in the future.
That team is selling the farm. That's the only way they're going to do it.
That's what I'm saying.
But I don't think there's going to be anybody that looks at you, Darvish, and says.
But think about all the conversation about what the Rangers could give up for Chris Sale last year to put the Rangers over the top.
Yeah, but they didn't.
I mean, that was your dominant pitcher. They think about potentially trading the farm for a dominant pitcher. I think those conversations are going to be happening in a few months.
I mean,
and
if you
we're
look
going to
at
see. It's going to be a very, very, very interesting time to see what the Rangers do to have a long-term future and not just a one-year future.
yeah,
If they're at the top of the division, which they're pretty far from, and Houston's still rolling,
yeah,
then of course they're going to be rolling with you, Darvish, and they're going to be buyers, and they're going to pick up that one random guy who can put them over the top. Not a big piece.
for sure. No,
But
that's definitely.
if they're anything but, within 2 games of the Astros, it's what it looks like it's going to be.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna. I just feel like the mindset might change a little bit.
And
halfway
right
through
now
the
they're
season.
2.5 games back, tied with the A's, game and a half.
And it looks like they're going to lose tonight.
Yeah, I
Hey,
mean,
Cashner was great. What happened?
It just started to roll downhill.
Honestly, I was loving it. Like Cashner.
Cashner,
through 5
it's the
innings.
beard, man. It's the beard. Cashner's beard was what was holding it together. He had a lot of moments where things were about to become a shitstorm for him, and he was able to get out.
He did.
There was a triple, and then he kept it to a triple. But honestly, I think the
there's a
biggest
double,
story,
yeah.
right now is Tim Tebow is stuck at 2 home runs.
Well, that's really unfortunate.
And what
but
are we
why do you
gonna-
have to bring that up?
what
Okay,
are we
look,
gonna do about
apparently he had a good game. He had an RBI.
Yeah, he had a game-winning RBI.
I think we need a wager. So people need to chime in on social media with how long, what's the date going to be for when Tim Tebow gets moved up to Double A? Because it's happening.
It's gonna happen.
Because all he is a hype storm, and he's a media, frenzy. So he's going to get promoted.
I mean,
Because then we'll talk about it on.
Because what team does he play for right now? What is it?
Columbia, who cares? But he's moving up. The Mets are going to capitalize on him. It doesn't matter if he's an incredible player or not. He's moving up. He has a little bit of success, and he's going to be up in
The
Double A,
Columbia
Triple A.
Fireflies, because that's the most
Columbia,
threatening.
South Carolina.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of churches there. So Tim Tebow's got to be loving it.
I bet everybody over in Columbia, South Carolina is loving it too.
Oh yeah. That's the draw right now.
So the moral of the story is we're on Tim Tebow home run watch throughout the season.
And we've
And
been
we're waiting for him to get moved up.
Yeah.
Why'd you move away from the beard conversation? Okay, Cashner comes out of nowhere. He's got a few shaky years. He's over in the Padres playing the crappy teams with no batting, and he can't even have dominant ERAs. He's got ERAs in the 4s and stuff. A few random injury years. He comes over to the Rangers in his first start. He's got 5 shutout innings. I was loving that.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah,
I know things happen, whatever happened in the 6th or 7th inning, and the Rangers don't look like they're going to lose tonight. But that does give me some hope throughout the season.
For sure, Cashner's a strong pitcher. Cashner pitched.
Right, he's got
He
everything.
pitched okay, nothing very spectacular. And he was in pitcher-friendly ballparks. Petco's
Right.
fucking 500 miles
Pretty
to
much.
outfield. They had to bring the field, they had to bring the fences in to make people want to come and watch a game because there's no home runs.
Right.
Marlins is a pretty pitcher-heavy place because of the humidity, keeps the ball in the park.
Yeah.
Unless you're John Carlos Stanton, and then I think he was kind of underrated, and I think he may be one of those bang for your bucks.
And
So-
that much airtime was spent talking about the Rangers' offseason moves. Bringing this guy and bringing this guy, and we can't go after this guy because of the budget. And they ended up spending more than they've ever spent. And you just bashing on Don Daniels. But we brought in Cashner on a 1-year deal, and we're going to
Blinds,
see
yeah.
there is some potential after one start.
And
I
then-
know that it's too early and we're overreacting after one start, but there's some potential. And then we see what Tyson Ross can do. And those are some good moves.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sometimes that blind squirrel finds a nut, and hopefully he picked up a nut this time.
So the quote of the day, Chase calls John Daniels a blind squirrel. Comments
Hey, I'm
coming
good.
next-
I'm good with that.
Comments coming next week. So I know you really don't want to hear about this, But I'm going to go around the NBA because the NBA playoffs started today, and the NBA regular season finally wrapped up after 82 long games that nobody really cares about because the playoffs are what matters. That's kind of what happens in every single game, except for NFL because there's only 16, and NCAA because there's only 11 or 12 games. But so we had a quick look around the NBA.
That was the quick look around the NBA.
So the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Toronto Raptors.
Oh wow, was Drake not there?
John Antetokounmpo probably had a great game.
What was his name?
He's the Greek Freak. Don't call him by his real name, okay? So the Greek Freak, maybe 6 can upset 3 because people were wanting to pick the Raptors to upset Cleveland. I don't know if that's going to happen. Pacers almost beat Cleveland though. LeBron James had a good game, but I think that team, they're not going anywhere. They have been slipping and sliding, and you cannot bring zero momentum into the playoffs. Either the Pacers are going to win a few, or they're going to upset them, or everybo's going to figure out what to do, and they're going to be upset in the next round.
And that's the look around the NBA.
In the West, Thunder and Rockets are facing off in this series, and it's a great series because Russ Westbrook and James Harden are facing off, 2 leading candidates for the NBA MVP. To me, last few minutes of the fourth quarter, it's going to be some prime watching time. We're going to watch Russ Westbrook, see if he's actually good enough to get a team, a 6th seed into the second round of the playoffs. Or is James Harden, he's going to prove to everyone that he deserves to be the NBA MVP. So that's enough of the NBA. Any comments on that?
Not really. It's the NBA. The Greek Freak. I'm glad. That sounds like a salad at Snappy Salads. The Greek Freak with some feta and Kalamala olives.
Yeah, but at least James Harden has a good beard, right?
James Harden does have a good beard. I think it really depends on which Kardashian is going to be fucked by Westbrook or by James Harden.
Chase enthusiastic as always about the NBA.
Yeah, always enthusiastic.
A real quick 5-second look at the NFL. Marshawn Lynch is about to be back with the Oakland Raiders
because he doesn't want to get fined.
Well, of course he does.
Bitch mode? Is he in bitch mode?
Beast mode.
Bitch mode?
Wants to come back with Seattle or the Raiders.
What's he going to do? Drop off 70 pounds before July? Because the last time I saw him, he looked like
even
me.
Eddie Lacy could play with 70 pounds, overweight.
Yeah, okay.
So I think Marshawn Lynch can too.
So you know what? That's going to wrap up the podcast tonight, guys. Corey wasted a good, valuable 3 minutes on NFL and other bullshit that no one wanted to hear about. So we are going to be back this next week with some more riveting action from this weekend and some more notable notes that we can note on in next week's Cold Beers and Curveballs podcast. Wear your number 42 for the next
couple of hours,
hour and a half, and you'll be good to go like everybody else out on the field. And also check us out on iTunes. We finally got approved. Everything will be up on there. Cold Beers and Curveballs. You can listen to us on the podcast app, or you can just find us and go ahead and set that up to download, and it will download it into your iTunes every time we upload.
Otherwise, SoundCloud, obviously.
SoundCloud.com, and we will also be getting on to TuneIn Radio
hopefully,
as
boom,
well.
boom.
Also be checking out our Reddit feed, CB and CB podcast. Check out Cold Beers and Curveballs on the MLblogs.com. And always keep in touch on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. CB and CB podcast for Twitter, Cold Beers and Curveballs, all spelled out, all lowercase on Facebook and Instagram. Anything else to add, Corey?
I think it's a wrap.
Awesome. We will see you guys next time.